Hey everyone, this is Phil. Welcome to our video. Today we're going to do another tier list video. It's been a while since our last one, so we're going to do this with a few updated cubes. We're each going to make our own tier list of usable 3x3s. At the end of this video, we'll have a combined tier list where we just average everyone's cubes out and see if we can make a company-wide tier list and see exactly what the cubers here at TheCubicle think of each of the cubes. So let's get started. I guess I'll do my tier list since I'm sitting down already. All right, so let me see here. So when I do this tier list, I'm trying to think about, what the S tier and what the F tier is. And just like last time, I think F tier cubes are cubes that are considered absolute failures, like they're not usable at all. And I don't think any of these cubes are like abject failures. You can still use them, but you might not like it as much as some other cubes. So I'm not gonna put anything in the F tier. I am going to put the Tornado V3 on the S tier. I think it has all the nice features. It has really good performance, set records, has a very modest price. So I think it has everything that's going for it to be an S tier cube. I really think so. And on the A tier, I'm going to put the GANs in A tier along with the RS3 Super. After using the RS3 Super a lot, it's grown on me more than the RS3M 2020. I actually get better times on the Super now than I do the 2020. I think it's still A tier, but I might rearrange it like this, with like left to right being like goodest to baddest. And then I know the Tengyun V3 is D tier for me. I absolutely hate that cube. There is nothing about that cube that I enjoy. Again, personal opinion. The Tianma is a nice cube, but I don't use it much anymore because there are more attractive cubes. The Worm 2021 also, it doesn't do it for me. I think I would put that C tier. That cube is really nice for other people, but it just doesn't work for me. MS3X, maybe like this, something like this. Yeah, I would do like Worm 2021 between B and C, probably like this. This is a nice cube, but it's just, I think the bottom of B tier makes sense. All right, yeah, that's it. This is what I genuinely believe is the hierarchy of all these cubes, and this is roughly the order of the cubes I would take if there was a competition. Like if there was a Tornado V3 in front of me, I just do that. And if that cube didn't exist, I'd go to the next one. So yeah, there it is.
Hey guys, so it's been a year since we've done this, so I'm pretty excited to jump into this again and see what my placements are for all these cubes. So starting with the GAN 12, I think I like the GAN 12 more than the GAN 13. If it really came down to it, I'd probably pick that one. So I'm gonna put the GAN 12 in A. It's pretty solid cube. And GAN 13 I'm going to put right behind it. So I think they're both A tier, but I do have a slight preference for the GAN 12. The GTS 3, that is a really good cube too. I think I'll put that in A also right behind the GAN cubes. So yeah, that's a cube from 2018 that still holds up in 2023. It's still a viable cube. People still use it, and I still use it sometimes. It's awesome. The MS3X, it is pretty okay. I've tried some setups now. I know like Damian's setup is pretty good for the cube, but I think it's a pretty mid cube, honestly. It's not terrible, but I'm gonna go C tier. The RS3 Super, this is probably my main right now. I kind of flip-flop between this and the Tornado. So I'm gonna put the Super in S. I love this cube. And when you break it in, it gets like super good. It's not S tier out of the box, but it gets amazing the more solves you do with it. And the RS3M is dropped down to an A tier now. It was an S last year, but I think the Super is better. Tengyun V3, yeah, that's all I need to say about that. Tianma is a pretty solid cube. We did have this as our underrated pick for best cubes of the year. I think this is, I'm gonna put it B. I don't think it quite hits the level of these other cubes. Tornado V3, easy S tier, best cube of the year. WRM 2019, still really good. Yeah, that's gonna have to go A as well. That's still a really good cube. And the WRM 2021 I'm not as huge of a fan of, so I'll go B tier with that. Yeah, this looks good to me. This seems pretty fair. So yeah, that's my list. Let me know what you think.
Hey, what's up guys? I'm Damian, back again, new year, new tier list. So let's see what we've got here. Let's see, GAN 12. I think that's the current world record average cube, at least one of them. That makes me think that it's instantly S tier. So then we've got the GAN 13. It's basically a GAN 12, but it costs a little more with a little more features. I like the cube, I own one. It's one of the 3 cubes that I use, but I'm gonna say it's A. A little below the GAN 12 just because of results and speaking with Timon. So the GTS 3, I think this is one of the most innovative cubes that's came out in the last 5 years because of the ridges. I think it was kind of slept on. This is another S or A tier. I'm gonna say A just because it's old and it doesn't have a lot of the functionality that a lot of the newer cubes have. So now the Diansheng MS3X. I've been trying this cube a lot lately, and without messing with the torpedoes, which are adjustable, I think it's a great cube. I don't know if it's on the same level as the 13, the GTS3. I'm gonna put it in B, but we might revisit that. RS3M Super's S tier. Tangyun V3, oof. That cube was so bad. I think it's the Tangyun V1 that's making all their new cubes look bad, but this one definitely looked bad. Tianma, we'll say A. I think it's a little bit slept on, but it's a good cube, especially if you get the right version for you and set it up correctly. RS3M, I'll give it A just because it's been surpassed by the Super. I feel like this is top heavy now though. Let's take the GTS3 down to B, and the WRM 2019, I'm gonna say that's equivalent to the GTS3 since it's the same cube, essentially. Tornado V3 has got to be S tier. Worm 2021. I think the best thing that came out of that cube was the Smart Cube, but I think that was even based on the 2020. No, the Worm 2021 is the good cube. So that's a top tier cube as well. I'll say it's an A, but now let me revisit this and see if I agree with it. I'm tempted to put the GAN 13 on S as well because it's essentially the GAN 12 with a few updates. It's the price that's making me want to drop it to A. But I'll say it's S. You know what? I'm gonna put the MS3X on A because I think that cube is underrated. I think if more people tried it, it would have a lot more fans. I'm gonna keep the GTS3 and WRM 2019 at B just because they're aging and the features are lacking in 2023. And then the Tangyun V3, yeah, I'm sorry, bud. But yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna put everything. So let me know if you guys agree.
All right, so this is a tier list, otherwise known as a I have trash taste list. Oh man, where am I gonna start off? I've never actually spent a lot of time with the MS3X, so I'm gonna put that immediately in C tier. The Super is a god tier puzzle, absolutely amazing. RS3, since the Super came out, it's still a great puzzle, but I think I'm gonna put that a little bit lower. Tangyun V3, I have not tried either, so that's going there. Tornado V3 is what I'm currently using right now as a main. Absolutely amazing. Same with the 21. Both amazing cubes. The Tianma is actually really, really good, but I kind of don't like it compared to everything else that's up here. GTS3, I'm gonna put that in B just because I like the other current offerings from Rowe other than the GTS3. Same with the 2019. Fantastic cube, it is a little bit dated, but there are, I don't want to say better cubes, just different cubes. So that leaves the GAN, my favorites. I will actually give the 13 its S rank. It's actually a really, really amazing puzzle, but the 12 is a bit lacking in my opinion. That goes in B. So that's gonna be my tier list. What do you guys think? Is my taste trash? Let me know.
Hey guys, so yeah, this was fun doing this last year. So yeah, first things first, the obvious for me, the Worm 2019 will always be my favorite cube, pretty much my multi-main for life. So, but yeah, that belongs up there too. Been really happy with the Tornado V3. When it first released, I was actually worried it'd be worse than the Tornado V2 for me, but after breaking it in, yeah, it lived up to the hype for sure. I'll just go the exact opposite now and do the F tier. I guess I'm gonna put that, and that. All three of these cubes, like, they're good, but they don't stand a chance against the other stuff. So let's put RS3M in A, Worm 2021 in B. I think I prefer the RS3M. To me, it feels better and more high quality, even though it's a budget cube, so that makes it awesome. Like, it's almost S, but not quite for me. So Worm 2021 is pretty good. You know, that might actually be C, I'm not sure. GTS3, I'm gonna put in A. I was actually considering switching to this for 3-blind, like over the Worm, but not really. But it is a really good cube. It's essentially the same as a Worm in many ways, but it's awesome that that cube still breaks records. Thanks to Tommy. So the GANs. I honestly really like the 13. It's really pricey. Last year, price affected my opinions a bit, but I'm gonna screw that. I'm gonna put it in A. This is really the first time right away I fell in love with a GAN cube. I think the Angstrom GAN 13 is one of the best premiums we have right now, if anyone's tried it. Yeah, GAN is really stepping it up. It does have to be tightened out of the box though. The looser settings are just unusable. With that being said, GAN 12 will put in B. It's also really good. And this is probably an unpopular opinion here. I'm not a fan of the Super. I know it's a good cube, but for me personally, it feels too much like a Meilong, which I don't like, and the center cap's really weird looking, so I'm gonna put it in. It's better than the 2021 though. All right. let's do that. That's fair. I think that's fair. All right, that's it.
So that wraps up all of our tier lists, but before we show you guys our combined company tier list, we wanted to show you guys some tier lists from some of our ambassadors. So let's go ahead and check out those.
Hey, what's up? This is Max, aka Stuff, and today I'm going to be going over my tier list. So out of the 11 3x3s, I've only tried about 7 of them. I did not rank any of these cubes in the D or F tier, but the lowest cube I did rank was the WRM 2021 in the C tier. I feel like it was a little bit uncontrollable, and I feel like it just didn't fit my turning style that well. Now moving up a tier to the B tier, I have the RS3M Super and the GTS3. The GTS3 gives me a lot of nostalgia from the cubes back then. The ridges were definitely a game changer. I mean, some people didn't like it, but I personally liked it a lot. The RS3M Super is a great bang for your buck 3x3, and I really enjoy it, and I actually made a lot of content out of it. But now moving into the A tier, the WRM 2019 has been my main ever since it came out. The RS3M 2020, with it only being $9 just for the performance you get out of it, I think it is a really great cube. The GAN 13 has a really nice crunchy feel, and I like all the customization options you get with it. And lastly, on the S tier, I'd like to put the Tornado V3. This cube has been an absolute game changer for the cubing community. I currently have both versions, the Pioneer and the standard version, so no matter which one you get, I think that you are getting a great value. I currently main the Pioneer version, and I think it is the best 3x3 out there on the market. Thank you so much to TheCubicle for featuring me on their channel. I really appreciate it. Catch you guys next time. Peace.
What's going on, everybody? It's JFCUBING. Let's just get right to the tier list. All right, we gotta like speed run this thing. GAN 12. I think I'm gonna put that in the C tier. It catches a lot and it just didn't really work for me and it's really expensive. GAN 13, we're gonna put that just a tier above. The lockups and catching isn't as noticeable as the 12. The price just makes it way too hard for me to recommend. MS3X, I haven't tried. The same goes for the Tengen version 3, but honestly, I don't know that I'm gonna get this one because I've heard it's very similar to the Zanchi Pro, and I already think the Zanchi Pro is too similar to the Tengen version 2. GTS3, that's going in A tier. Amazing cube, but nobody asked for the ridges. I'm kidding, they're not that bad. All right, RS3M, instant S tier. That cube has been so influential in the budget cube market, and it really set the standard for what a budget cube should be. Ah yes, the Tianma series. I'm gonna put that in A tier. This cube is amazing, but I'm honestly questioning some of the features that they put into it. But I'm very excited to see what they do in the future. Tornado V3, put that in S tier. That is the best cube on the market right now. I'm literally in love with this thing. WRM 2019, that's also gonna go in S tier. I like a lot of cubes, I'm sorry. This cube is just a legend. It's super good even now. It deserves nothing less than S tier. RS3M Super, I'm gonna put that in C tier just because I feel like it wasn't that big of an upgrade to the original RS3M 2020. Plus they had some issues with like it breaking and stuff, and I was just kind of expecting more. It's still pretty good though. Actually, I'll move it up to B tier just because it has like a bunch of different options like maglev and a magnetic core. Finally, we got the WRM 2021. That I'm gonna put before the WRM 2019 just because I think it's a better cube. You get a lot for what you pay for, and I just really love it. So this is my final tier list. I didn't really give any D's or F's. Cubes nowadays are pretty solid. Maybe I'm a bit too nice with the S tier, but we'll leave it at that.
Hi, my name is JFCUBING and I do setup tutorials on my YouTube channel. I've been asked to rank some cubes, so here we go. So automatically, two things that are going into the haven't tried list is the Tengen V3 and the MX3X. I put the more Tianma in the D category because it's really hard to set up and it eats lube like people breathe air. It's also very uncontrollable and it's just really hard to use. For the B category, I put the GAN 12 and the RS3M Super. The GAN 12 is a good cube, but like it's really hard to lube and it just doesn't stack up to some of the other competitors. The RS3M Super is kind of overrated in my opinion, and it feels a little bit cheap. In the A category, I have the GAN 13, the WRM 2019, and the GTS3M. The GTS3M was a pretty good cube for its time, and I would still use it. It kind of has the same feel as the Worm 2019. The GAN 13 is a really good release, and with good setup, it really turns phenomenally, and it is really smooth. The only reason I put it in the A tier was it is extremely expensive, and there's no way anybody's actually paying for that. On the S tier, we have some of the best releases. We have the Tornado V3, the RS3M, and the WRM 2021. The WRM 2021 is actually a really good cube. It was one of the first cubes, in my opinion, with the good use of primary plastic. The RS3M is extremely cheap and it feels extremely premium. Finally, the best cube, in my opinion here, is the Tornado V3. I know it's gonna be a popular opinion, but with proper setup, it feels super buttery smooth. That's my tier list, and thank you for TheCubicle for having me on.
What's up, everyone? So as you can see by my tier list, there are some cubes I haven't tried. At D, I have the Tianma. I really didn't enjoy any of them. Disclaimer, I'm not a GAN hater, but I put the GAN 13 on C because I don't care much for it. No matter what tension, what type of adjustment I make to it, I can't have it work the way I want to. It's annoying. So C tier. I'm not sure if I like the GAN 12 better than I like the GAN 13, but I use the GAN 12 far more than I use the 13, so that's why it's up in the B tier. And the RS3 or RS3, on the B tier, I haven't used it that much, so B, I guess. So on A tier, I have the Worm 19 and 21 because they were both solid cubes. I really enjoyed them for the time being, but then cubing just kept on evolving, so I don't like them as much. I struggle with my fingers. GTS3 was one of my favorites for a long time. I really liked it, even with the weird little ridges. S tier, I have the Tornado V3, of course, no shock there. I love the Tornadoes and I have all versions, and the flagship version is my favorite. And I also put the RS3M Super because the RS3M Super Bulk or M version is one of my favorites. So that's my tier list. 5.
So here's my tier list. Let's go over it from bottom to top. At C tier, I have the Tianma and the GTS3. The Tianma is just way too fast for me. And for the GTS3, I feel like it's a good cube for its time, but it's outdated to today's standards. Now, let's move on to the B tier. For the RS3M Super, I like how it feels, but I can't seem to get good results on it. For the GAN 13 and GAN 12, they're really solid cubes, and I would put them in the A tier, but I feel like how expensive they are makes it have to go down one tier. Now let's move on to the A tier. I prefer the RS3M over the Super RS3Ms, and they're cheaper. And as for the WRM 2021, it's a really solid cube and holds my competition personal best. And at the S tier, I have the Tornado version 3, which holds all my at-home PBs, and it's my main at the moment, a really solid, flawless cube. So yeah, this is my tier list.
Hello, this is Andy, and I just want to quickly talk about my thoughts here. I prefer cubes that are reliable, which means the cube can maintain its speed throughout the time without any huge lockups. I also have a kind of aggressive turning style. With these criteria, I just found the Tornado V3 to be the best. It has the stability and reliability that I enjoy a lot. It works the same on the GAN 12, while the GAN 12 has the speed add-on, so I'll put them on the S tier. All the cubes on the A tier have been my main 3x3 at some point. I do enjoy the speed that Moyu cubes provide. For the cubes on the B and C tiers, they are not bad, but not as good as they are supposed to be. The RS3M Super is too heavy, MS3X is too flexible, TMI is too uncontrollably fast, and Tenyon V3 is too blocky, and the GTS3 has uncomfortable ridges. Last but not least, for the GAN 13, it has too many lockups. I know some of you might not have the same issue because we have different turning styles, but I do find the lockups very annoying. Also, the GAN 13 is too expensive, which is not favorable for buying. That's all from me, thanks for having me on.
Alright, so we finished all our tier lists individually. Now it's time to combine them. What we did was we assigned each tier a point value. So S was 5, A was 4, so on and so forth. We took our averages for each cube and we put the cube in that tier. We used a range, so something in A tier would be between 4 and 5, and something in B tier would be between 3 and 4. And if there are multiple cubes in the same tier, the cube that got a higher average score was placed more to the left. So if you see the tier list here, you'll see some cubes on the left. Those are the better performers in that tier. It's no surprise people voted 5 on the Tornado V3. That is a really good cube. I think a lot of us main it. The GAN 13 people were probably caught up by the price. It's an expensive cube. And the RS3 Supers are also A tier. Looks like people generally thought the Super was a little better than the standard, but they're in the same tier which kind of makes sense. That's how I personally feel too. The GAN 12 is B tier. That was kind of a surprise, but I guess my colleagues aren't crazy about the GAN 12. The Worm 2019 made it to the same tier as GAN 12. In C, we have the Tianma and MS3X, and consistently people didn't really like the Tengyun V3. So this is what we on average think about all these cubes. I'm not really sure what to do with this information, but this has been really fun. We're gonna make this tier list public, so if you wanna make your own, feel free to do that. Definitely let us know what you think and how close you were to a staff member or maybe our weird amalgamation of ratings. And as always, you can get all these cubes at thecubicle.com, especially the really nice ones. You should definitely consider it because they're really good. All right, see you later.